Meri Brown, star of Sister Wives, broke up with Kody and moved on. She even had her marriage declared void by the church. Meri is now speaking out and defending her decision to keep her last name Brown following their divorce. Meri appeared on Friday, September 12th's I Do, Part 2 podcast episode. She talked candidly about not changing her name and whether she intends to do so in this podcast. In fact, Meri stated, "I've discussed it numerous times with my best buddy and a few others. I'm not going to right now." One argument for keeping it could be that she and her kid still share a last name. Meri remarked, "One of my sisters and I constantly make jokes about it because she's also divorced. I love you, Dad, we say. However, we will not return to the maiden name." Meri Brown clarified that she has been going by this name for 35 years. Returning to a different name would be a significant shift. For 19 years, she claimed, "I'd only had my other name, which is my dad's name. It's also really difficult to say because it has a lot of R's. Brown is really simpler." Meri clarified that it's quite difficult to say Meri Barber, which is her maiden name. She is retaining Brown because she decided she didn't want to use that name. Meri's name should remain Brown till she gets married again. Meri has yet to find a new partner. In order for Kody Brown to wed Robyn, Meri Brown did, in fact, formally divorce him. In order to legally adopt her children from her first marriage, he did this. This meant that Kody was their legal father, and that Robyn would never return to their biological father in the event of an emergency. However, Meri stayed with Kody for years. That was only a divorce to allow Robyn to wed him. Sister Wives viewers have been following Kody Brown and his four wives' lives, relationships, and complex family dynamics for years. Meri Brown has frequently stood out among the women in this polygamous household, not simply because of her grace or witty remarks, but also because of her somewhat isolated public persona. One little aspect has often drawn notice from fans as they have seen her deal with her relationship with Kody, the reality of polygamy, and the difficulties of media scrutiny. Meri has never changed her last name. She's finally talking about why now. Meri Brown, who is renowned for her composed manner and perceptive viewpoint, answered the topic that has been bothering fans for more than 10 years in an open interview earlier this week. With the weight of someone who has spent years balancing her private identity with a highly visible life, she declared, "I've always been Meri Brown. It's not about trying to stand out or rebel. It's about respecting my family's past and being aware of who I am." Meri's decision may seem out of the ordinary to viewers who might believe that adopting a husband's last name is common, particularly in the setting of a family that values harmony, custom, and shared identity. Meri, however, views it more as a reflection of her personal life philosophy than as a statement against convention. "When I married Kody, I did it out of love, faith, and a commitment to our family," she clarified. "However, I was also aware that the name Brown was connected to my origins, my childhood, and my identity. It stands for my parents, my early years, and all the things that helped me become the woman I am today." Many people who have followed Meri's experience on Sister Wives can relate to her reasoning. She has frequently been presented as the most reflective of Kody's spouses throughout the series, struggling with her feelings and choices in private rather than expressing overt drama or conflict. This character is supported by her conscious, considerate, and intensely personal decision to keep her last name. Fascinatingly, Meri's choice also draws attention to the particular difficulties encountered by women in polygamous unions. Polygamy introduces additional levels of relational complexity, in contrast to a regular marriage, where the dynamics usually include two people combining their lives. Wives frequently deal with jealousy, competition, and the public's interest in their family arrangement. It's possible that Meri kept her last name in order to maintain some degree of independence within the complex network of connections. Meri went on, "I've loved being a part of this family for decades. I adore the life we've created, our kids, and our extended family. However, maintaining my name does not imply that I am not totally dedicated. It implies that I'm also respecting my history, my decisions, and the person I've put a lot of effort into becoming." Her remarks provide insight into a larger cultural discussion around marriage, identity, and expectations for women. For personal or professional reasons, many women nowadays are opting to retain their birth names, even though changing one's last name is frequently seen as a traditional sign of unity. Meri's answer makes sense in this contemporary story, while also shedding light on her personal experience growing up in a closely watched household. Supporters have observed that Meri's decision is not just symbolic, but also useful. She has developed a life outside of the Brown family brand throughout the years. Meri Brown's identity is well established, as seen by her personal endeavors and charitable activity. It would have seemed as though years of arduous work and personal development had been erased by changing her name. She remarked, "I wanted continuity. I wanted my kids to feel proud of both sides of their family and to know where I come from." Of course, there are difficulties in keeping a maiden name in a polygamous family. Fans and detractors have occasionally questioned Meri's commitment and allegiance. Whether keeping her name was a subliminal gesture of defiance or an effort to distance herself from the family dynamic has been the subject of endless speculation in online forums and social media debates. However, Meri's decision is not premeditated or rebellious, as those who know her personally and have closely followed her tale on Sister Wives know. It's just a reflection of her personality. Meri stated, "There's a common misconception that a woman is rejecting the family or resisting her husband in some way if she doesn't change her last name. It's not at all like that. I've made the decision to be a devoted wife and mother while respecting my own individuality. There is no mutual exclusion between the two." Fans are having a fresh discussion about individualism in polygamous marriages as a result of her remarks. Meri's explanation offers a different perspective, one that stresses self-awareness, personal empowerment, and deliberate decision-making than Sister Wives, which frequently concentrates on the drama between the wives or the practical difficulties of running several households. Her decision reflects her experience on the show in many ways. Meri has endured hardships such as marital discord, mental health issues, and public criticism, yet she has always maintained her composure. She preserves a physical connection to her past by retaining her last name, which serves as a reminder of the life she spent prior to becoming a member of the Brown family, and the principles she still upholds now. Meri's honesty has received a lot of acclaim from fans. Her interview sparked a range of reactions on social media, from adoration to contemplation, with many viewers considering their own marriage and identity decisions. Platforms were inundated with comments such as, "Meri is a role model for modern women," and "keeping your name doesn't make you any less committed," demonstrating that her personal choice has resonance well beyond the viewers of the Brown family's television program. Family dynamics specialists have also offered their opinions. Sociologist Dr. Kimberly Davis, who focuses on marriage and identity, offered her thoughts on the importance of Meri's decision. Meri Brown's actions are a great illustration of how women can negotiate both individual and group identities in intricate family systems, Davis stated. It's a complex choice that respects both individuality and relationship commitment, a delicate balancing act that many women, whether or not they are polygamous, can identify with. Meri's viewpoint also sheds light on the Sister Wives' cast's larger development over time. Viewers have witnessed changes in the wives' interactions, self-expression, and role definition as the series has developed. Meri's choice to keep her last name is a subdued yet impactful indication of these developments. It shows that women in polygamous relationships can exercise agency, that identity is not fixed, and that commitment does not necessitate the erasure of self. Meri admits, however, that there have been internal difficulties with the decision. She acknowledged, "There were times when I questioned whether maintaining my name might cause conflict. But in the end, I understood that genuineness is more significant than conformity. I can't be totally present in my family if I'm not being genuine to myself." This open analysis emphasizes a lesson that transcends polygamy: the value of honesty, self-respect, and striking a balance between obligations to one's family and oneself. Meri's husband, Kody Brown, has openly supported her decision and recognized it in a recent family interview. Kody remarked, "Meri has always been herself. I married her in part because of it. Our marriage is defined by her love, dedication, and presence, not by her name. Retaining a last name is not always divisive. Rather, it can coexist with collaboration and shared values, as such statements affirm." This revelation gives Meri's character a deeper dimension for seasoned Sister Wives watchers. Her issues with intimacy, emotional vulnerability, and her position in the family hierarchy were frequently highlighted in earlier seasons, but her justification for preserving her last name highlights another one of her strengths: her self-awareness. It is a quiet force that depends on introspection and deliberate decision-making rather than on spectacle or drama. Reflection on the larger cultural background of marriage is also encouraged by Meri's experience. It used to be nearly common for women in heterosexual marriages to change their names. More women are thinking about the ramifications of this choice today as social norms change, not only for themselves but also for their families, careers, and children. Intentionally or not, Meri Brown has come to represent this change, demonstrating that there are several ways to honor family, love, and individuality all at once. In conclusion, Meri Brown's justification for never changing her last name is a declaration of self-respect, historical understanding, and purposeful living rather than merely a personal story. It serves as a reminder that identity is complex and that autonomy and commitment can coexist for women in polygamous households and beyond. Viewers can now respect Meri not only for her emotional fortitude but also for her quiet persistence on being herself in a society that continuously questions her decisions. As Sister Wives continues to chronicle the Brown family's lives. "My name is Meri Brown," she declared with the composed assurance that has come to define her. "And because of who I am, not because of anyone else, that will never change." These straightforward words convey a powerful message. Identity is important. Names are important. Above all, staying loyal to oneself is a kind of love that transcends the person and affects family, the community, and the viewers who have followed her path for over 10 years. As the show progresses and the Brown family continues to negotiate public life, Meri's decision is a subdued yet potent reminder that even seemingly insignificant choices have profound implications. Her last name is a monument to originality, tenacity, and the lasting force of being unashamedly oneself in a household that is frequently characterized by communal identity. One thing is therefore certain: Meri Brown's history on Sister Wives is inextricably linked to her name, regardless of whether fans agree that changing or maintaining a last name is a good idea. It is a representation of her past, her resilience, and the kind, steadfast woman that her admirers have grown to respect over the years.